Why would somebody leave behind the glitz of Hollywood to start from scratch in Ghana?
What I wanted to bring here is teach the people, because I'm coming with a skill set a majority of Ghanaians don't have.
He's a creative powerhouse with over 20 years in the film industry, credits on global hits like The Avengers, Iron Man, and Godzilla. And now he's on a mission to build Africa's very own Pixar. Today on the Diaspora Conversation Podcast, we're diving into a story of a man who traded Hollywood blockbusters for a bold new vision right here in Ghana.
I feel like it's very rich in talent here. Ghanaians tend to be very, very creative.
What secrets does he carry from the world's biggest movie sets? And can Ghana really become a global hub for animation and visual effects? This studio will be the biggest studio in Ghana. Stick around, because today we're talking passion, purpose, and the future of African storytelling with the one and only Kwame-Michael Brako, aka Brako. Michael, what sparked your love for film and animation?
Since I was a little child, I was always daydreaming about it. From all the cartoons I watched, the films, I just had a vivid imagination. In fact, I used to get in trouble in school all the time because I was always daydreaming. I was drawing, I was sketching, my mind was wandering. So I think it's just always been a part of me. Seeing things that were unreal, but wanting to bring it to life.
Would you say that it started in Ghana?
No, it actually started in the US at a young age.
So were you born in the US or were you born in Ghana and then moved to the US?
I was born in Ghana, in Accra, and then I moved to Kenya.
Kenya?
And then from Kenya to the US. Yes.
Were your parents working in Kenya or what happened?
They were actually schooling in Kenya. And then my father came to the US and he got a teaching job, and then we migrated to the US.
Okay. So how old were you when you moved to the US?
I think I was around 3 or 4 years old. Very young. Very vivid imagination already.
Would you say that came because your parents were reading a lot to you? Like, was there something that kind of, I just want to see that spark. I know you mentioned about you watching a lot of cartoons and stuff, but what about reading? Were you like reading books and that kind of sparked your imagination as well?
Yeah, because my earliest memory with the books in the US was Dracula and Frankenstein.
Okay.
And I found that so unique, Dracula, Frankenstein, and the werewolves.
Right.
And I think that's where everything sparked, because, I was wondering, what are these creatures? And, the stories about them, it didn't scare me at a young age. But I think I was just fascinated that, can people turn into bats? Can people turn into wolves? And that's what really got my mind thinking about, beyond the realms of the world. And I also believed in aliens when I was small. So I remember just being outside and always kind of wondering and thinking about that. Exactly. Okay. And my father was into the stars a lot. So he would be pointing and showing us Orion and the Big Dipper. So, I was literally spacing out.
Wow. And what did your parents say? Like, were they worried about you always spacing out? Like, what is my son doing? Like, he needs to do something.
I knew that the teachers were having trouble keeping me attentive. Yeah. And so part of that was myself getting in trouble in detentions. When I try and think about it, it wasn't that I was a bad child. I just was not as attentive. Yeah. And so maybe they just thought that I was just not interested in the in the educational part, but it's just my mind was everywhere in music and art.
What was your first breakthrough in Hollywood, would you say?
It was working on the Avengers.
And how did that come about? Like, that's big.
Oh, yes. So I was in Florida, and I remember the story vividly. I happened to be dropping a friend off at the airport, and I had a friend that was in LA saying, hey, there's a studio that's coming to Florida that's going to be hiring some graduates at the school. I myself was not near graduating at this art school, but they had about 300 people that they were interviewing. So what I did is I went and stayed there for about 3 or 4 hours while they went through everybody. And so I came in with my work. Mind you, these graduates had full reels and portfolios.
So you didn't have that?
No, I just had things I had ideas and was working on the side. And I remember the CEO of the studio, when he saw it, he asked me, so you're not graduating yet, or you don't have a portfolio so much? I told him no. And he turned to his partner and he just said, this guy is interesting. And that's it. He just said, this guy is interesting. And he had a smile on his face. He said, oh, we've interviewed over 300 people and there's something about you.
Oh my God.
And 2 days later, I got a call, how would you like to move to California and work on the Avengers? I didn't take any time in thinking about it.
You're like, I'm gone.
I'm out.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you packed your bags, you went to California, and how was it then?
Oh, to move there was different. I didn't even have much money at all. So I had to go stay with a friend at his place for several months while I saved some money. You know, I was still pretty young. So.
How old were you?
Oh, by this time I was, I say pretty young, but 35.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it takes a long time to get into what you want to do and start making money from it, right?
Exactly, yes.
So 35 is still young.
Yes. I mean, I had the dream since I was young to find a way in getting my name in the credits. It's just, it was a journey that took me there.
Absolutely. So tell us about it when you got there.
Yeah, so when I got there, I was staying with my friend for several months. I remember walking into the studio and I just couldn't believe I saw the storyboards of all the films, the posters that these studios had worked on, previous films like G.I. Joe and whatnot, and I just couldn't believe that, wow, I'm here. Wow. And I was nervous the first week because all the software and technology they were using, I never used it. And so the pressure was, wow, they believed in me that much to come here and do this.
You needed to learn.
Yes, and I remember there were other people working in the studios who were being let go left and right because they weren't cutting it.
Oh my goodness.
And so I remember thinking to myself, okay, I just left all of this to come here and I don't know this software. You know, here I am. I have to prove myself. That's what it was about. I have to prove myself. I have this opportunity, so here goes nothing.
Right.
And I started working on it and everything, you know, I guess it was just magical. It was just one movie after another. So I ended up doing about 20 films in that time there. Yes.
20 films?
Yes.
And how do they work? Like, how is it like working for such a big production like that?
You know, I never had an idea how much and how many people it took to work on it. In this particular studio,
how many?
It was about 400 of us. There was maybe about 3 floors of us. Yes, all different departments. We had Disney on one floor and then our studios on other floors. And then you had different artists that were, you know, their jobs were particular scenes. So maybe I might have a 2-second scene that takes me 2 weeks to work on. And I had no idea it took that long to do it. And so that would be my job. We'd be in with the editors and they'd give me a scene from the Avengers or Iron Man. And then I'd have to dissect it by, you know, whatever our creative director gave us in the instructions and just work on that scene with visual effects or stereography. And then you sit in a room with the director, the producers. And I remember my first few weeks heart pounding because here are some of the biggest people in
names.
Hollywood. And I'm this little guy that's sitting in a chair.
This Ghanaian boy.
Exactly. And they're just going frame by frame, watching what I'm doing. And all you want to hear is, this shot's a green light. And I would just get that green light, green light. And so, yeah, it would.
Favor and grace.
Yes. So I was able
hard
to.
work.
Yes. I was able to stick through the long run for it.
My goodness, 400 people. So are we joking when it comes to production here? Like,
you
what?
See the credits?
Yes.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Because we would be getting shots from other studios.
Okay.
So maybe I might get some live action plates from a major studio. And from that, I need to add effects onto it as well. And then maybe when I'm done, it goes to another studio for another part of effects. Wow. And then the sound scoring and whatnot.
Wow. And when you did your part, how long did it take?
It could take a full week just to do a 5-second shot.
What?
And then maybe another full week or 2 weeks to do a 1-minute shot. It really depends because when we're working on it, these editors and producers and directors, they're watching every frame. They're clicking the arrow watching so you can do an explosion. And if something doesn't look right in it, even though the normal eye won't catch it, they'll stop it at that frame and just say, it needs a little more impact. And so, yeah, you're just spending all your time trying to make it as real as you can. Right. And so I did a lot of studying on volcanoes and tornadoes. In order to do the effects, I would be studying real life effects and trying to mimic it as much as I could.
Oh my goodness. So whilst you were doing that, were they giving you that tutoring or were you going outside to get that education for yourself to know more about what you're doing?
Yeah, they were into tutoring. Once you're in there, you're in there. They don't have time to try and teach you on jobs. So you go in and you learn on the job. So when I was presented the software that I had no clue about, it was just a matter of me learning on my own. But you had a few artists that were around that might come to your studio area and give you some of their skill sets.
Okay.
But you just had to learn fast. That's what they wanted. They wanted people that could learn fast, do the job, and at highest quality.
Wow. And was there a lot of black people there?
No. Out of all of those, there was about 4 of us.
No.
And I remember counting and saying, wow, there's only 4 of us here.
No way.
Yeah.
Out of the 400 people?
Yeah, I'm in one side of the whole studio. The other one's on the other side. The 2 more downstairs. And we'll see each other from time to time like, we made it, but where's the rest of us?
Oh my goodness. And
Yeah.
how did that make you feel? Like being African, being black, how did that kind of encourage you that actually we need to do more? Like there needs to be more of us in this space.
Well, first of all, what I understood was it didn't seem like our community was usually targeted for these type of jobs, because I didn't even know a lot of these roles existed until they came to the studio. So when I came in and I saw us, I thought, I don't think they go to areas where there's a majority of us working here. And at the same time, I don't think that most of us have that skill set. And especially being the only African there, only Ghanaian. The other ones were African Americans, but I was the only. So there was a big sense of pride because I thought, wow, you know, I got our name on the map on here, but are there any other Africans, Ghanaians in the film industry? Which to this day, I never found about that in the US. So it was a big, you know, accomplishment for me.
So would you say that was your proudest moment?
Yes, it was. It was something that I remember when I left the previous job I was at. I remember just telling people, I'm going to see my name in the film credits. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to. And to sit in the theater with my family and then the credits rolled up and I saw my name, I said, okay, I did it. I did probably one of the most hardest things anyone can do, especially being a black person in the US.
Yeah, and how did your parents feel? Your family?
As soon as we walked out, my dad was going to the ushers. Yeah, he worked on that movie. Let's go take pictures with the poster. It was, you know, a very, very proud moment. We were in New York and we would be in the subways. And at that time, I had 3 films I worked on simultaneously. So you had the Avengers, you had Iron Man, and I think Percy Jackson. So all these posters are on there, and I'm like, yeah, each of these posters, each of these films I've worked on. So we all sat and took pictures in front of all of them.
Oh my God, that's amazing. And you know, for you not knowing about the role, for somebody to just tell you, your friend tell you about the role, you took that leap of faith.
Yes,
right?
It was complete.
You knew that you don't have the experience, but you're gonna go anyway.
Yes.
And I think sometimes we just need to follow that intuition to go for these type of things, because you never know. They interviewed 300 people that they saw you and they were like, you know what? We're gonna bet on you, even though you have 0 experience. we're gonna choose you.
Yes, I wasn't even dressed for it. I went in there and saw all of these graduates that I was very sure. I thought to myself, oh, I bet they're really good. I didn't see any of their works, but I thought they were good. But in my head, I thought they haven't seen anything yet, because I always felt I had a pretty good imagination and sense of detail.
Right. So knowing what you've been through, the type of work that you've done, the amount of sweat that goes into it, right? The not knowing whether they're going to like it, whether you have to repeat it and do it again. What made you want to come to Ghana, to come and do the film industry, the animation? What are you bringing back to the continent?
Yeah, great question. Ever since I was young, I always just had this feeling that sometime I would end up in Ghana. I didn't know how yet. When I was in college, I was around many international students, and I remember most of them never stayed around. They would all go back to their countries.
Were they Indians? Were they Chinese? What type of people were they?
Chinese, Indians, Sri Lankans, and other Africans. But all the Africans stayed in the US. I noticed the rest of everybody would go back home. Cyprus, Turkey. And we were a big international community. And so I had a conversation with a few of them, and most of them, they said, well, we just want to come here and get the education and skills, but we want to go home and build. And that was in my head. I kept thinking, well, why aren't we doing that? Because most of the Africans I knew we're
They're
staying.
like, no way.
Yeah, they're getting married, they're
Yeah.
staying, there's no going back. And so I knew as time would go, I would somehow find myself. And so when I decided to go for visual effects and animation, I remember I was actually in the middle of pursuing a medical degree. I was doing great there, and I accidentally walked into a studio, and that's when I went to speak to my father and said, I'm gonna move this to something else. And I think it was just a feeling, and I promised myself at that very moment, or when I do make this, I'm going to go to Ghana. So what made me come here was after working in the film industry for so long, I just had this big feeling that I'm very sure that we have a lot of culture and stories that we could tell.
So many.
And working on the Avengers, I did a lot of studying with some of their mythological heroes. And I remember at some point I thought of Thor, and he was very similar to Chango out of Nigeria. And I started digging deep and saying, wait a minute, I have a strong feeling some of our stories are coming in here.
Anansi, Spider-Man, Warrior King, Yasantua, and the King Arthur, the sword. I don't know if you know that movie. Again, that's Akonfenoche. So we have so many stories that are from the continent, but we're not able to package it like they do, right? Because it costs a lot of money. So sometimes when you are listening to some of the production, they're like, it costs 100 million. You're like, what? Now I understand the work that you were going through.
Yes.
And this by second of delivering a 5-second scene will take 1 week.
Yes.
It takes a long time. So what are you bringing to the continent that you've learned?
So number one, the skill set.
Right.
I want to tell those stories here in Ghana as well. And knowing that information as I was in the film industry and knowing that our stories were being Hollywoodized, you know, I always felt, okay, well, we need to go back into the continent. I don't know where it's going to start, but even if I came here, if I could inspire, or if there are others doing it, that's fine, team up. So what I wanted to bring here is the idea of bringing the storytelling. So with the animations I'm working on, I felt that first I need to be able to teach the people because I'm coming with a skill set a majority of Ghanaians don't have. Yeah. You know, I've had a chance to be in the professional studios. I've had the training. I've been in this system for, you know, almost 2 decades, everything. So in order to get that quality, I knew coming back here and working on animation and getting the attention that I needed from those that could be creators in the future, I'll need to start providing that sort of training and skill set building. And not only just to work alongside with me, but for them to tell their own stories. Because I know there's going to be people here in Ghana that are very aware of the stories. There's countless times I hear, oh, there's some elders here that might have beautiful stories that you might be able to tell. And I can't do it all. But if you can give the people the skill sets to do it, they can do that. And then Ghana can bring itself in the upfront of bringing these stories in a high quality manner through animation and visual effects.
What did your friends say, your peers, your family, when you said, I'm moving back home to Ghana?
Well, you know, my father, he was very happy. I'll tell you that much, because he's here in Ghana, and he would ask me every year, so do you plan to come to Ghana? So when I finally told him I would, it's like he rolled out the red carpet. He said, what do you need? While I was in the US, he was the one that went out and he found my place for me to get, you know, living here. He and my mother made sure I came home comfortably. And then he would keep asking me, are you sure you're staying here? You're not going back? Okay, I'm getting this new place for you. And the week of it, he's asking, you didn't change your mind yet, yeah? So he was excited, and the friends too, they were very, very supportive. They knew that, I think that the way they knew me, they knew that I had a path and I had a journey. So there was nothing about holding me back. They just said, wow, do what you need to. So it was quite the support, really nice.
Good. That's good to hear, because sometimes you don't hear of that much support. People are like, are you crazy? Like,
Well, I mean, I did get you're going to Ghana, what can you do over there that you can't do in the US? And my mindset was, oh, a lot.
You know? Absolutely a lot. And in terms of the talent that you see here, what do you see? Like when you come, I'm sure you've spoken to people that are doing animation, you've spoken to people that are doing film, and the collaborations that you can do. How do you see the talent here?
I feel like it's very rich in talent here. Ghanaians tend to be very, very creative. Everything from jewelry to fashion to film. I've met some of the animators that have already had some of their animations in the theaters here. I've watched their films. I love the storytelling. I really feel like there's an opportunity for it to grow in terms of community. I think gaming is one of the larger parts of Ghana coming in. I'm always having conversations of that.
Okay.
Children's stories, cartoons, animations. And so I do feel with the skill set I have, there's something I can bring and offer. I don't think I'm one that's here to necessarily build it, but I'm here to fill in the gaps and help whoever is interested. And I have many conversations with creatives that are just beginning to some that have been in the animation system for a while.
Okay, so what have you set up? What are you setting up for that development to happen?
So at this time, I'm building a studio in Cape Coast. And in Cape Coast, it's going to be a production studio as well as a training center. It's not too far from UCC. At the same time, doing online training because I do have quite a bit of Ghanaians from all over Ghana, from north, west, east that are interested. And I know they can't just travel to come to it. And I want to see them all succeed. So I'm planning online virtual sessions as well. And so I've been building that since I've moved here to try and get that going and streamline. Later in, I guess they don't call it summer here. Summer is different here. So later August, I'm
Summer every day.
Summer every day. So when I say summer, it doesn't say much. But sometime around August, I plan to also do a summit where I'd like to bring other creatives that may speak on panels, but give the community an opportunity to come meet people like us, tell us their stories, maybe find ways to get them as part of the work that I'm doing. There may be some that are very good, maybe some that I see the potential and they can learn on the job as well.
Okay. Is it mentorship and then training and then packaging it and selling it to the world? Like how are you going to benefit from it? Is it just a give back? Obviously you need to make some money.
Yes, obviously, yes. In order to build a studio and be able to finance the stories, yes, have to educate. Some will be mentored, some I'll take in as internship, and some will be paid training. I do get people that want one-on-one mentorship. Obviously, time is money. I need my time to continue constructing things and building things. So yes, I do plan on offering services. And some, I do plan on doing some for free as well, because I feel it's part of giving back. And you can plant a seed in somebody and then later on they'll grow from it. You give them the tools that they know what to do from there. So from time to time, I do offer online free sessions where they can come online and watch what I do, ask questions and whatnot.
Okay. And you coming back, how was the reception been for you as well as, a Ghanaian, but not so localized Ghanaian, right? But coming back to your people, how have they embraced you?
I feel like because I'm bringing something and I'm bringing a dream and skill sets, I've been embraced quite a bit well. I didn't know how that would be because I felt I haven't been in Ghana for so long. They're gonna hear this. They keep calling it the Obroni accent. But for the most part, everyone they're trying to teach me the language, very patient with me, just meeting wonderful people everywhere. I think that I'm bringing something genuine, so the reception is good and is primarily the creative community. And that's the circle I'm trying to be around. And so as I get to meet people in the creative community, then we can exchange some sort of ideas. And I think that's fantastic. I don't feel that anyone is trying to compete with me. I'm not here to compete with anyone, but I feel very well embraced. I've had a few studios that are working out of Ghana invite me over so I could talk to them and their staff, tell them my experiences, and they in turn teach me a little bit of what they've been doing and how they've been doing.
That's amazing. And you've won awards like for your animation work that you've done. Can you talk to us a little bit about that as well?
Yes, so this is The Last Comb of Mau. It's an African futurism animation, something that just brewed out of my bedroom one day. It was during the COVID period, of course.
Everything.
That's when exactly everything happened there. And so I decided that I wanted to just do some small animations. I did a small, I think a 2-minute bit that ended up being introduced into, I think it was called the Afro Animation. I had a studio contact me and say, hey, we have Afro Animation in LA. We'd like to play your animation in the screens around the hotel. And it so happened the founder of the Essence Film Festival saw the animation playing, and I just happened to run into her when I was looking for a cup of coffee, and I pointed it was mine, and she told me, if you can make this a little bit longer, we'd love to have it in our film festival. So I went and spent 5 months working on it myself. Unfortunately, in the US, I didn't have friends that would just come and volunteer their time. Most people, I gotta get a little.
You gotta get paid.
Exactly. So I said, I'm just
Especially
gonna,
in LA, no one does anything for free.
Nothing for free. So I decided to just take it on my own.
Okay.
I did it. I was sent to Essence,
Okay.
and I was sitting in there. In fact, the room next to me, Juliet Ibrahim, I think you know.
Julia Ibrahim.
Chris,
yeah.
I told they were all there. I didn't even know. So they were in the room next to me. I got a chance to meet them,
Okay.
and there was the award ceremony. I didn't expect anything because I thought I was just supplying the film to show for fun.
Yeah.
Other group members that were there, they had full production studio staff, you know, so I'm seeing groups of people sitting. It's like, wow, I'm clapping as they're mentioning people winning their awards. I was at the back, far back, not expecting. Then I hear, you know, for best animation, and then they call my name.
Hi.
And it actually went to get, I don't remember her name. She played Aunt Viv on The Fresh Prince.
Oh, really?
She had an
what's her name?
animation.
Really?
Yes.
You up against?
So I saw them and I thought, wait a minute.
Oh my goodness.
And so it was just me by myself. And so I went in up on stage, the microphone, and I couldn't believe it.
Oh my goodness.
You know, to see that it went that far and one person with no budget. So it let me know that people with passions and dreams can do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, you know, since you've been in Ghana, what do you think we lack? Is it VFX? Is it animation? What do you see that we're lacking that you think we can do better in?
Visual effects for sure. I think that's a very good place that can be tackled because I watch some of the Ghanaian films and I see some of the visual effects. So I'm always going to critique everything that I'm in the field of. And I'm always thinking this could be done so much better. This is how I could improve it and whatnot. But I do see some amazing films starting to come out. I don't think that they're focusing on action films here because of the visual effects doesn't have as much of the strength yet. Animation, I think, is going to be something that's growing. I do see some good animations, but I feel in terms of animations, we need to tackle the children's education as well. We can use animation in surgeons and nurses. I did that for about 6 years too, as a creative director in the medical field. So I feel like we can use those two areas and fulfill those places. And then last, gaming, because gaming is such a huge industry and we have so many youth that are part of it. It's a $6 billion industry right now. The leading countries in Africa are South Africa and Nigeria. But I have met creatives in Ghana that are trying to build their own games, and they'll message me all the time saying, please, we need somebody that can come and help and bring this together because it's going to give jobs to the youth. When COVID happened, the film and gaming industry actually went up.
Yeah, because everyone's like at home. What else is there to do?
Independent game makers were making money. People out of their bedrooms and living rooms and small studios were doing so well. And so I know a lot of times we have our parents say, hey, be a doctor, be a lawyer and whatnot. But someone who comes from the creative field, I just feel, follow your passion because you can set the precedence for the future. And as well, we have so much history and culture to share from here.
What about funding though? Isn't that one of the biggest challenges?
It's the biggest challenge I have. Everything has been out of pocket to the point my father even said, look, stop doing all this stuff out of your pocket, focus and figure ways to start building in funding so that I can, build the studio and be able to bring these services. Because if you run out of that funding, you can't help Ghana grow. You can't do anything.
No, absolutely not. So would you say that you're open to like people coming on board from the diaspora to support the vision that you're doing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that any diaspora that comes in with the mindset of let's grow Ghana, and there's opportunities of anyone that's trying to do something genuine, it definitely helps and becoming a part of what is building Ghana. I see animation, gaming, and VFX being a part of the history. I imagine the next 2 to 3 years, getting the people that are talented that can do is we can see such a vast change in the Ghanaian film industry itself.
Absolutely. What would your words be to diasporans who are watching that are still like, I'm not coming to Ghana? Like, what would your words be to them about, coming back home?
My words to diasporans coming back home, I feel is extremely important because Ghana, as well as other African countries, are in need of skill sets. And we give so much of our skills and time to other countries that might be already developed. But to be able to come back and give what you can, you give yourself a potential of having your own legacy, as well as your offspring that can be a part of something you build. I think is very important. Like I mentioned to you earlier, I saw many students from other countries that came for education and work, and when their time was up, they left. When I check in on them, they're doing fantastic. They've built businesses there. So I feel like diasporans, you have such an opportunity to come and build and bring. It might take a year, 4 years, 5 years, everything takes time, but in the long run, you can build a legacy. And I think that's what's important to help the country grow. And we can't grow without coming back and teaching what we know.
Absolutely. So what legacy does Mr. Brako want to leave behind?
I want to just be part of the growing film industry of Ghana. I feel like just as an artist from being young, there's nothing I could think of doing other than something creative. And so I feel that if I can inspire the current and next generations to do what they can with their talents, because there are many talents here. I would love to be in my dying bed watching an amazing film saying, I knew that person when they were just starting. So the legacy would just to be part of filling the gap of the film, animation, game industry of Ghana. So we can tell the stories, because the number one important thing is preserving our culture and history.
It's true.
And without that, we can be a lost people if we don't have those stories that we can pass on through time.
Absolutely. We talk about legacies and trying to impact the next generation. But as a country, do you think we're ready for that? Are we ready to really embrace some of the skill sets that we're bringing to the country?
I absolutely do. I feel like we're ready. We're moving in an area that Africa is waking up, and we have that opportunity. I think we're more ready than we even know. But there's people that just have not been given the olive branch to go make that change. And they'll all come out as these opportunities grow.
Fantastic. Love that. Okay, so I've got some rapid questions for you, short and sweet. Marvel or DC?
Marvel.
Favorite film of all time?
Matrix.
Hi! If you had to play a character in a movie, what movie would it be?
It would have been Spider-Man.
Spider-Man?
Yes.
Okay. Dream African collaboration?
That's a very good one. I don't know. I've never thought of that one. That's a good one.
Food for thought.
Yes.
Okay. What's one big myth about VFX or animation you wish people would stop believing?
Oh, that it has to be too expensive.
Okay.
It's you can do it with
Budget.
a little amount of money. Yes.
Okay.
You just need a strong computer, and then you can take it from there.
Okay, fantastic. Finally, finish the sentence. Hollywood is cool, but Ghana is the future because
of our culture, heritage, and our arts. We are there. They are following us.
I love it. And lastly, are you related to Ben Brako?
My brother's name is Ben Brako, but I don't think we're talking about the same Ben Brako.
Really?
Yes.
Ben Brako is an artist.
Yes,
a
the
Ghanaian
musician.
artist.
Yes, I remember I used to tease my brother Ben because I was like, Ben, your name is all over the place. Is that?
But so you're not related.
Not that I know of. I have not looked into it.
Okay.
But I probably should go ask my father.
You should. So what part are you guys from? Are you Fanti?
Ashanti.
You're Ashanti.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. And
So
how are you liking Cape Coast?
I like it. It's quiet, but I feel that it's a little bit slow for me for now.
Okay. Right.
because of the person I am.
Yeah, and the stuff that you're trying to do as well.
Yes, I'm all into the action. I want to be where the action is
Yeah.
and getting the actors and whatnot. I mean, it's nice. It gives me a place of clarity.
Right.
Since it's quiet, I
Yeah.
can think and get as much done. And then when I've had enough quiet, I'm back here.
Coming up, cry. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the show. I am so happy that you decided to come back and give back, especially when you're still young. I think it's important that we don't get lost in everything that's happening in the Western world. It's already developed. And so you coming back to give back is really, really important. I hope that, like you said, people have embraced it. Let's make sure that, you know, something good comes out of what you're trying to do. This studio will be the biggest studio in Ghana.
Yes, thank you.
Michael, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you all for watching the Diaspora Conversation Podcast. I will see you next time. God bless.